Stable security is a straight-talking strategy that recognizes American strength is defined not only by the hard work of U.S. military personnel, but also by the lives we save and the opportunities we create for the people of other nations. Today, our adversaries are often conditions: poverty, infectious disease, political instability, corruption, and global warming, which generate the biggest threats. By addressing them in purposeful ways, we solve problems and avoid crisis.
Some 7 years on now, it has become something of a cliche to suggest that the attacks of September 11th changed everything in U.S. foreign and defense policy. We could talk at length for how it has changed the ways in which we view our threats, in some senses how it's changed the way in which we've organized our government and indeed our relations with other sovereign nations and non-state actors. But perhaps one of the most profound changes that we have seen since September 11th, and in particular since the invasions of Afghanistan and Iraq, is the extent to which our security establishment views development as an instrument of national power. There are limits to what our kinetic, conventional military capabilities can do in terms of making America safe. We don't yet have a coherent model for how one links the military's involvement in development with the advancement of very specific strategic objectives. A couple of years ago, I heard a Marine Corps second lieutenant give a presentation. This particular Marine Corps lieutenant had fought in the Second Battle of Fallujah in November 2004. And he did a fantastic job articulating how they were able to cordon off the city, how they prosecuted their military operations, and how they were able to achieve success against the enemy. And one of the audience members asked him, "So, Lieutenant, is there anything else you wish you had?" Anticipating that he would say, "Oh, I wish I had better air cover, I wish I had better body armor." And he said, "You know what I really wish I had? I really wish I had a Peace Corps on steroids." Which is to say that I really wish I had somebody there with me that could do these sorts of civilian assistance activities which needed to be done in this space, but which as a trained infantry officer, simply don't have the training to do.
There are disagreements and cross currents within this very large and diverse military community, broadly speaking, our defense community. Not all military departments and services or the combatant commands view foreign assistance in the same way. Yes, there is a growing realization that state building and all that goes with it, from economic opportunity to public welfare and the rule of law, do have vital roles to play in our overall security, stability posture, especially looking back on the hard experiences of Iraq and Afghanistan over the last few years. But that's well short of saying that all of our colleagues in the Defense Department are becoming dewy-eyed nation builders.
I think we need to ensure that the activities of combatant commands are embedded in a larger U.S. government strategy. As Ruben said, the Pentagon has promoted the idea that combatant commands could be useful regional platforms for quote-unquote phase zero activities or pre-conflict activities. And DoD is to be commended for trying to get to the root causes of instability and violence and conflict in many countries around the world. But I think it still remains to be seen whether or not there's going to be adequate civilian leadership under these initiatives, and in particular that there's not going to be some collision with Chief of Mission authority as these very large entities get up and running.
In the case of Afghanistan, where I spent the early part of 2000 and 2003 opening the aid mission, and I was essentially an aid mission of one for a good part of that time. I worked very closely with my military colleagues on the ground who were in effect serving as AID officers in many parts of the country where I, as a single aid officer, couldn't get. They were doing a lot of very good short-term one-off projects. But unfortunately, the schools they were building, the health clinics they were rehabilitating, were not tied to the longer-term, deeper institutional fix that links the construction or rehabilitation of these facilities to a ministry that will ensure that the facility is regularly supplied and comes with trained and salaried staff. Too often this is not the case, and USAID or the community are left with a well-intentioned project that is the short-term fix, but with no sustainable lash-up to a central project or longer-term support.